Right, welcome. So today we are going to be looking into join. Things are getting pretty interesting as we move. So joint is one of the most actually what we are looking into today is just inner join. So there are a few type of joins. So this class is going to be dedicated only to inner join, and join, you can think of it as one of the most important concepts in SQL. The whole idea of databases, data integrity, not repeating stuff, and all of that. We're able to do all of that because we have access to join, so that when we break um, you know data into atomic form, we have the opportunity to like bring them back together using join without losing any context. Join helps us to link the fact table with the dimension table and get the same detail that we would have gotten if we actually just went through the pain of collecting redundant data. So join helps us a lot and is one of the most important concepts to learn in SQL. And there are a few examples of joins. There is inner join or just ordinary join. There is left join. There is, I think what I should do is say joins. Let's do this. This would be better so that you know everything that we're going to be covering. Going to be doing this. Right. So joins. Then we can do types of join. Types would be one, you have the inner join, which is the one we're going to be covering today. We have the left and right join. That is, there's left join, there's also right join. They pretty much do the same thing. There's full join. Some people will say full outer join, and there is self join. Those are the ones that we're going to be covering. Now, um, yeah, let's move on. So, in this class, we are going to be looking at inner join, and whenever you just see ordinary join in SQL, like just ordinary join, you should know that it is referring to inner join. And what does inner join do? It helps us to actually, like every other join, it helps us to link two tables together, two tables that have common relationship. They have a primary key, foreign key relationship. They are joined together. Now, uh, and this is something that you should have, what a primary key is, what a foreign key is, something that you should have covered in the basics. And yeah, let's take our first question. It's easier to explain when we look at our first question. So we're going to say write a query that returns the first name and last name of employees responsible for the top 10 most expensive order. Now, we want to write a query that returns the first name, the last name of employees responsible for the most, let's say, for the highest number of orders sold. Responsible for the highest number of orders. Now let's leave it like the way it was earlier. Most expensive order. Let's say in terms or fright. So we want to write the query that returns the first name and last name of employees responsible for the top 10 most expensive order in terms of freight. That is, that paid for the most freight. Now, if we want to just return the orders, the top 10 most expensive orders in terms of freight, this way we'll write it. Let's go into sales order. So let's say we are taking the first name and last name of employee out of it. I want to show you how to build something like this from scratch. So we say select. So we can go order ID and freight. Then we say from sales order. We order by freight. In descending order, and we limit it to 10. Now if we run this, what we are going to see is, the order ID, the freight, you're going to see that this is the highest freight ever paid, then it just comes down like that for the top 10. Now, okay, let me show you that again. What we now want to get is we actually want to see the name of employees associated with this order. I want to see, okay, this person sold this order, that person sold that order. So how can we do that? It means that if you check sales orders table, you're going to see that there is no name of employee there, right? And if you check employees table, there's nothing like orders there. Yeah, there's nothing like order. So what can we do in this case? What we can do is this: we can actually link the two tables together. We can join the two tables together if we are sure that they have a relationship. How are we going to be sure that they have a relationship? You see that employee ID is the primary key in employee. Can you see it here? You're going to see that it is written as, you're going to see PK in front of it here. PK in primary key. We need to go check inside sales order and check if there is employee ID there. So we go into sales order. We see that there is also employee ID there. So the idea is, the two tables that you want to join, just check if they have a relationship. If they do have a relationship, you go ahead and write the join. If they don't have a direct relationship, still there might be something to do. You can look for a table that has a relationship with those two tables. So let's come here and I edit this. So how do we do that? Let me actually clear this off so that we write it again normally, so it does not confuse you. We're going to select, the first thing that we want to do is to select employee dot first name. Now it's important for us to reference where it is going to come from, so that we don't run into conflicts that will raise an error of ambiguity. Let's say one table has a column, another table has the same column, and they bear the same name. Secure is not going to know which of them you are referring to. So that's the reason why we do this. Then the last thing is, although that kind of error is not going to arise with first name and last name, because employee table seems like the only table that has first name and last name. So, but still, it is just good practice to, put something like this in place. So, responsible for top 10 most orders, we say sales order dot freight. Don't come here and say from. Where is it going to be coming from? All of this is going to be coming from the sales order table. Then we're going to say join. You want to join employees table to that, because freight is the only thing coming from sales order table, and these ones will go in. Now you might be thinking, well, which of the table should I write first? Why did this guy choose sales order? Usually, good practice is choose the facts table, put it in a from, then the inner join the join clause should take the dimension table, that is the other table that contains the information. However, if you alter it anyhow in inner join, you are really not going to have a problem, right? So problem comes when you start doing things like left join, right join, and you have to be actually, mindful of which one goes in first. But in the case of inner join, it really does not matter. So we say join employee on. Now this is like the join condition. So after the on, we write the join condition. What is the condition for which this things should go through. So we say join employee on employee, and this is the condition: employee dot employee ID equals sales order dot employee ID. Basically, that's what we're saying. We are saying join it on the condition that, well, we have a column called employee ID inside employee, and that column also exists inside sales order, that is the employee ID. Then we say order by. What are we ordering by? We are ordering by sales order dot freight in descending order, and we are limiting it to 10. So if we do this, we are going to get our outcome. So we see what we saw earlier, but now we know the actual employees that are responsible for each of those orders, and it's easy. So let's take another one. We're going to write a few, maybe about 5, so that it helps us to like lock down the concept. So we're going to say write a query that returns the number of times. Now let's see, write a query that returns the names of the best 5 performing customers in terms of number of orders. So I want to write a query that returns the names of the best 5 performing customers in terms of number of orders. So we're going to come here and say select. Let's go to customers table. Customers table, where is it at the top? Customers table has customer cost ID and company name. So we're going to come here. Let's see if we can join it with sales order. We can. Sales order also has cost ID, so we are fine. All we have to do is come to customer table. We need to select company name. That is the name of the company. Our customers, they are companies, actually, the company name. And maybe also get the name of the contact person. So we say contact name. Now, earlier I told you that it's important to reference the stuff, the table that is coming from. So instead of writing the full name of the table, you can just go c dot company name, c dot contact name. And I'm going to see what I'm doing shortly. Then we'll come here and say s dot, and we'll count. Since we want to see number of orders, count s dot order ID as number of orders, right? Great. Then we come here and we say from. Then these alias that we have been using, we have to plug them in. So from where? From sales order as S. We are calling sales order as S. So this kind of like help us to not write this long sales order everywhere like we did here. We have to write sales order employee like that. So we say from sales order as S, join um customer as C on C dot cost ID equals S dot cost ID. Then we need to group by. So group by C dot company name and C dot contact name. Right. So group by these title columns. Then we need to also order it to order by number of orders. And it's going to be in descending order. And we peg limits to 5. Peg limits to 5. And we are going to run that. Says best perform. Yeah, we are correct. So we run this. And we see these are, the information of the best 5 performing customers in terms of number of orders. So this Navarro Thomas, this customer LCOUJ, they've ordered from us 31 times. This other guy is 30, 28, and 19. And that is That is that. So let's look at a situation where there is no direct relationship between the two tables. So let's look question 3. We're going to write a query that returns the names of the best performing. Now let's write a query that returns the names of the employees and the amount and the revenue amount they have generated for the company. So how does that work? The way this works is we say select. Now the two tables that we need in this case is employees table and I think other details table. So if we check employees, that's where we get our first name and last name from. First name, last name. Then we need revenue. Revenue, as you've seen earlier or multiple times in previous videos, revenue is going to be unit price times quantity. So is there a relationship between other details and employee? No. There is nothing like employee ID here, and there is nothing like other ID here in employee. So it means that the two tables don't have anything in common. But what we are going to look for is another table that has something in common with these two tables, like a mutual table. So if we go to sales order, there is order ID in sales order and there is order ID in other details. Also, there is employee ID in sales order, this is it here, and there is employee ID in employee. So sales order is the table that has something in common with both employee table and other details table. So we join those three tables together. So we say select. What we actually want to see is name of the employee. So we say e dot first name, comma e dot last name, comma sum. Let's just do sum unit price times quantity. Leave discount out of it really. Quantity. If you want, you can add discounts. There's no problem. As revenue. From where is this going to come from? This is going to come from other details or any which one of them. So other details is going to be OD. OD dot unit price multiplied by OD dot quantity. So let's actually bring this to the next line to just, for clarity. So other details as this other detail, not other details, as OD, join others as O on O dot other ID because OD dot other ID. Then again, we join employees as E or E dot MO. This also is not employee. This is also not others, in sales order. Perfect. So we say on E dot employee ID equals, let's call this one S instead of O. So we say on S dot employee ID. You say join sales order as S on S dot other ID equals OD dot other ID. Join employee as E on E dot employee ID equals S dot employee ID. Now, having done that, the next thing is to group. We group by E dot first name. And another thing that you can do, which I don't advise as much, is you can say group by 1, comma 2. Basically, what that means is this is 1 here, column 1. This is column 2. And this one here is column 3. And the reason why I don't advise people to do this is for every time you alter this select, you have to come back here and alter this. So But just to show you, since this is we are learning, so we can say order by three in descending order. We end this like this. I think we want to return. Okay, yeah, let's run that. That's the full solution. So we see each of the employees. We see that Yael is the best performing employee, and Yael has brought in 250,187.45. So that is how to do something like that, especially in situations where you don't have um what you call it, a direct relationship between those two tables. So right, let's take exercise. That is the way join works, and that is the way inner join works. You look for a relationship between those two tables and we join them together. So let's take an exercise and we say, so write a query that returns the revenue, the revenue generated. Well, okay, let's make it this way. Write a query that returns the top 10 best performing countries in terms of revenue generated. So this is easy. You just join other details table with others table and we are fine. So thank you very much. That is how we do inner join. I'm gonna see you in the next one.